We here for the latest, south side or the north side, not tuned to the greatest. Home team for the home teams, both sides got our own rings, on the mound or the long ball, but we don't put the wrong strings, yeah. It's that time of the year now, Wrigley or Gantee, so the whole league that we hear now. New show with a new mood, discussions and interviews, straight rumors that might be. This is Pinwheels and Knife.
You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, April 13th, and you have found the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. My name is Matt Sawaski, a.k.a. Father Zoe, a.k.a. Southside Zoe. And with me, as always, Mr. Aldo Soto.
Special shout out to the best shortstop in Chicago and great husband, Dansby Swanson.
I mean, that's no argument here on that one. And the good Reverend K. Fitz.
And a shout out to the second best shortstop in Chicago who had to shift over from second base when Dansby Swanson had to take a couple days off, Nico Horner. So, yeah. Sorry about that.
So, got a lot to talk about. North side, south side, actual baseball going on. But before we get started with anything, let's do
a tweet.
This.
Oh, there you go.
How are things going for the White Sox, though? Well, this. I actually thought he was going to catch it.
That's the stupid part. That's the stupid part. So if he catches that, everyone's like, "Oh shit, what a play, Gavin Sheets." No, like clown, bad.
Yeah, that video of Gavin Sheets falling on his ass trying to field a fly ball in the bottom of the fourth. That's never going to go away. It's hilarious, Luke. I mean, that looks like some little league shit. But yeah, that.
Hey, Rick Hahn told you so. Guys aren't going to play out of position.
Right.
Gavin Sheets is a right fielder. That just those plays happen.
We were told he worked on it a lot.
Well, he did. Doesn't mean he got better.
I mean, I love.
It's hard to watch that.
People fuck up. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
they do.
He turned his hips the wrong way. It is what it is. But,
it is what it is.
Well, let's get into it. Let's tap this keg. As always, this show is brought to you by Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Make sure you download the app, turn on push notifications so you can be the first person to find out if Gavin Sheets is still upright. Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. And also by Uncle Bud's. Check them out. 9700 South Cicero in Oak Lawn. I think the summer specials are now officially live, so go check them out over there. Uncle Bud's on 9700 South Cicero. So
South Cicero.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're wearing your headgear.
We should start doing push notifications for when Gavin Sheets catches a fly ball.
That would be a celebratory.
Like breaking, Sheets catches fly out.
So my thing with that is, why was he playing right field today or on Wednesday? Because the White Sox are off on Thursday. So I don't know
Oscar
if he
needs days off.
Apparently he needs 2 days off in a row. I mean, I don't understand that.
Actually, that might make a little bit of sense, actually, because it is his first experience as a 162-game ball player that they probably are managing his reps a little bit early on.
Off Sunday, too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying
rested.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just trying not to. They're trying to eliminate some of the wear and tear. I guess I don't know. We saw it with Vaughn, and it's not like it was different with Vaughn. They did the same.
It was also terrible when they were doing it with Vaughn. Yeah,
I don't think it worked out pretty well. Where he's at right now, developmental wise, I think we'll take that.
Yeah. But I want to take it back.
Big three.
To talk about like one of the bigger stories that happened over the weekend. Because obviously we haven't been live since we talked about it, but White Sox had a little Donnybrook, little tilt in Pittsburgh. O'Neill Cruz slid like a T-ball player on like an all-grass field, and he slid into Sebi. Sebi got up right away and like said some shit over O'Neill. First of all, 0% chance Sebi knew O'Neill was hurt right at that junction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what was he going to be like? Hey, are you okay? Yes. Okay, I'm going to talk a lot of shit now. Like, That's not it. And for those of you watching live on YouTube, thank you. You should subscribe too. But
Subscribe.
Fizz is pulling up the play.
Yeah, so
So
there it is. Ha!
So yeah, and Seb says a little something. Like at that point, there's no way Sebi knows he's hurt. And then
Yep.
Santana comes in like, "Hey, what the fuck, man? He's hurt. Why are you talking shit?" And then that's when the bench is clear.
And so does pullover jersey here, which that means that's a coach doing it.
Yeah, I mean they're all getting Sebi's grill because they thought he was like tough talking a hurt player.
Yeah.
Of course, the bench is clear. And one of the funniest things, and you cannot convince me of otherwise, in baseball when bench is clear, is when the pitchers run out from the bullpen.
Just getting
Well,
cardio.
got your guy, Joe Kelly.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's absolutely hilarious. Dumbest thing in the world, but like you have to do it because if you don't do it, you're not like a team guy, which is. But two things about this one specifically. One, there's only one entrance for both teams, so these guys are running out
Side by
together
side.
to fight in air quotes. And two, yes, as you mentioned, although White Sox reliever Joe Kelly, you old fuck, apparently hurt himself running in from the outfield bullpen to stand around and push guys.
Where on the screen is Joe Kelly currently in this?
I don't know, he's probably one of those guys up there.
Look at this guy right here. Don't
That
hurry
might
up.
be him.
Hurry up. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's running well. Yep.
But
Well, no, that's the thing. Okay.
On any rush. On any rush. Well, somebody's in a rush.
If you're a fan of Joe Kelly, if you're not, if you're somewhere in the middle, whatever it is, I think we can kind of all agree on Joe Kelly's kind of a try-hard dude. So there is no doubt in my mind that dude was sprinting as fast as he could to try to get in someone's grill, and he just fucking pulled his groin.
Like many of us guys who are getting up there in age, you realize time waits for no man. And as you get older, if you do not stretch properly, you're going to hurt your shit. And Joe Kelly hurt his shit. So he's on the IL. And that's going to be a common theme about our White Sox talk today is the IL.
Do we want to break down this play for all
I was going to say, Fitz,
Pirates fans?
Yeah, Fitz, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone why Pirates fans are dumb?
Well, first off, they're dumb because A, they know baseball about as well as who was their first baseman last year?
Oh, the guy that got in the Javi Baez rundown?
That is 21.
Terrible. Or 2 years. Yeah, 2 years ago.
He definitely works at Hertz Rent-A-Car.
Yeah, he worked. Yeah, he's.
I mean, no, I think he literally got cut by the Pirates like a week later, and then he played in China. So he was in that meme. Learn Chinese, buddy.
The Shaq meme?
Yeah.
He was there. So first and foremost,
maybe.
This is the key, right? You got first and third, bottom of the sixth inning, nobody out, runners at the corners. So in this situation, this is absolutely not a first contact situation if you're playing smart baseball, meaning the only time that you really are going first contact is obviously with 2 outs, but with 1 out and bases on the runners on the corner, you do go first contact because you could inadvertently draw the throw to the home, throw to the plate, which will keep at least the inning alive, and you have guys on first and second, and 2 out knock still scores a run. You don't go first contact, first and third with nobody out, especially in the bottom of the sixth inning. You let the game come to you. But nope, Cruz does that. He breaks towards the plate. So there's the first thing. So first thing we see, he breaks towards the plate. Sebi is set up outside of home plate. He's literally, his left foot is the tippy front right corner of the batter's box, which is completely out of the way. And then you see the running from Cruz. Now, look at Cruz's at. Cruz is actually inside the cut, inside on the infield side of the baseline. So he is now inside of the danger zone. This to me, see, I am not 100% sure that Cruz didn't do this intentionally because he was trying to take out Sebi. And if that was the case, God, it's karma and I love it. But if it's not, I hate to see them hurt. But here he comes. I mean, look where he's running. This right there, him running where he's at. He throws his arms up. He's trying to block a baseball, which is, again, Bush League. Put your fucking hands down. You're going to get your hand broken. Another thing that could get him hurt. You run tall, but you don't put your hands up like that. And then he starts his slide 1 step from Sebi's left leg. Throw comes in. Sebi, look where Sebi's at still. Sebi is still inside.
Not blocking the plate.
And he's outside now at this point of the batter's box. But here comes the slide from Cruz. Boom. And he hits Sebi.
Look at Sebi. Look at Sebi's knee right now. Like it's amazing that Sebi didn't get hurt too.
Yeah, could have taken him out. So boom, and now now again, Sebi does twist that back leg. He falls back on it a little bit. And I was like, concerning. But here's something else. So now he talks shit. Fine, whatever. Fuck you, bitch. Slide better. He's probably telling him like, fuck you. You almost got me hurt. I'd be pissed too. In fact, Sebi's high school coach told me the other day. He's like, I have no problem with Sebi saying what he said, except it was Easter, and I wish he would have watched his mouth. That said, let's look at the other version of it now. I like this version more just because it shows you where he was really at. That's the brawl. Here we go. All right. So on this show, we're seeing it from the first base dugout. So we get to really see how bad this base running is. Again, runner in third, runners at the corners, one out, slow ground ball to a charging third baseman. This is the one that you see through. We call it see it through. Ground ball. Just breaks. He doesn't read the baseball. His head's running with his head down. He heard first contact.
And he runs crooked.
First thing that Sebi does, if Sebi's trying to hurt Cruz, Sebi doesn't do this. Look what he removes from the runner's path.
This is actually pretty smooth.
Look what he does. Oh, I kicked the bat out of the way, and now our runner is safe, and he's able to come in and slide. Look where Sebi's at. He's inside the cut. Throw's coming. Now, look where Cruz goes. Cruz V-lines, and look at Cruz. Cruz sees Sebi set up. His eyes are on Sebi. From this angle, you can see it. He's eyeballing Sebi. And then throws his hands up late and starts his slide there. Like he's not even sliding yet. Like this is literally him taking out Sebi, who he's trying to knock the tag away. Because look, he shoves the knee. He shoves it. Look at this. Look at his knee. Goes right into the glove. He shoves that knee right into the tag. Right knee, right into the left hand. Terrible move. Then he gets that left foot caught under his body, which is the one that breaks. And that's the foot that should have been the front leg, or at least on a hook slide, that's the foot that actually crosses the plate because you're outside of the baseline, not inside the baseline on a throw that's coming inside the baseline. Unless, of course, you're trying to get hit in the back or throw your hands up, or if you're trying on plowing over the catcher. So, boom. And look at Sebi, too. This doesn't look good for Sebi. They're both in there. They're both in track.
I thought they were both hurt.
Yeah, hurdler position right there. Both of them are the same. They just switch the legs. Sebi gets back up. Luckily, his foot pops out. Ball stays in the glove. And then, oh, God, that hurts. Bad slide, bad fundamental all around. And I'm sad to see him hurt if he didn't do it on purpose. But he legitimately did it to himself.
Hold on, let this video roll from right here because I want to point something else out.
Self-sabotage. It's self-sabotage. I'll move it back for you a little bit.
You got to go back because I want you to show. Michael Kopech wanted to fight the entire city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we'll do it here. And the thing about this too is, look, base running, we know this. We've talked about it on the show enough. Is so bad in Major League Baseball right now that I'm not entirely sure Cruz.
Stop it right here. Stop it right here. Look at Andrew Vaughn with the great behind the back bear hug gets Sebi out of there.
Yep.
You look all the way there, and then I forgot this computer's a touchscreen. I just made it full screen shit. But yeah, watch. Wait, it's gonna come into Michael Kopech, and they just show Kopech going up and down the line.
Oh yeah, Kopech was
there. He is right there.
There it is, right here. Kopech goes nuts. TA's right there too.
He's like, TA, you can see him going, hey. He's going, hey.
Yep. And Kopech.
It said something else, and that's where
look at that. Kopech try to go around and like get around the like peacemakers. But I also want to shout out the Pirates trainer who was smart enough to like lay on top of O'Neal Cruz when this shit happened. Because the last thing you want is when your guy's down to get cleated.
Yeah, get cleated while this is going on.
Because no one's looking down.
Now, unfortunately, by the way, the throw is an issue. The throw is high. It's in the line of the runner.
Yeah,
but
it's a bad throw.
Look where Sebi comes down. He still comes down with the he's got the right to tag his runner. So the throw could have been obviously in this situation because you have time as a third baseman. You don't want to throw across. You see, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but you don't want to throw across the runner like that. Anything that goes this way is tough. It's just like when you're feeding a guy at first. You want this to be inside so he can just catch on his number. See where if he catches that on his chest, that's an easy tag down too as well. Now, because Sebi had to jump, that's an issue, and that's dangerous. This is more of White Sox are lucky that Sebi didn't tear something.
Right.
The slide was dangerous. The slide was a bad slide. And for all of you Pirates fans out there saying that Sebi did something dirty, you need to stop eating paint chips because you're dumb. Okay, this is 100% on Cruz, and I hope he recovers. I hope he recovers regardless, even if he meant to do it. He was trying to take him out. You never wish someone's got to learn their lesson. But This is why we stress base running as such an important aspect of the game, that at our first practice, the first practice that we do, because it's such a liability, such a health hazard, a safety hazard, the first practice every year for us is base running and proper slides. Why? Because this shit right here is the easiest way to get hurt on day 2, let alone game 11 or whatever. And so it's disappointing to see this. It's bad baseball base running, typical of Major League Baseball at this point, because it's hit ball far, hit ball hard, throw ball far, throw ball hard. And it's not about the nuance of the game very much from these guys. And so they make stupid mistakes like this, like breaking towards the plate on a first and third, and if first contact was called, you're a moron, Scott Service. Is it Scott Service? No. Who's the manager of the Pirates? Scott, he was the Mariners, right?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
So the reason why we're talking about Pirates fans is because the MLB official Twitter account tweeted out this play, and for some unknown reason, I've done this long enough where I know better.
Oh no!
There it is. It's clear in Pittsburgh after a play at the plate involving O'Neill Cruz.
So I started reading the comments, and everybody started talking like how Chevy has no class and blah 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 blah. I'm like, bro, he just got trucked by a terrible slide. O'Neill Cruz is huge too.
Here you go. Is it not blocking the plate when you stand directly in front of it? Here's a screenshot directly in front of it.
No.
The entire I get why. Obviously, whenever your guy gets there, you're gonna be pissed off. Like O'Neill Cruz is their star player. It's like if Luis Robert would have had a dumb slide like that. But that's 100% like heat of the moment. Sebi Sabala doesn't know in that split second that O'Neill Cruz just broke his ankle. All he knows is this dude just ran into my knee. I'm lucky I'm even standing right now. Yes, I'm pissed off. So. That's just an overreaction that I think any fan base is going to have.
Yeah.
That was like Kevin, like you said, Kevin, that was all. Whose fault was that? It was O'Neill Cruz's fault.
Yeah. I didn't realize that picture got 50 likes. I'm proud of myself. Good meme action right there.
For the record, I'm an O'Neill Cruz fan. I like the kid. I retweet his home runs all the time because the kid hits absolute fucking piss missiles. And
Bulls tied it up.
Yep. It sucks that he's probably out for the year. I mean, he snapped his ankle.
They said 4 months, they said. So pretty much the year, but
yeah.
Maybe that's something that's, again, this is something that needs to be a point of emphasis across the league. These guys they don't spend enough time with it. And unfortunately, a lot of these guys didn't spend a lot of time with it anywhere they've played because they've always been the best athletes and they've been playing tons of games with their club ball teams. They're not, or their high school coaches are just rolling the ball out. Their college coaches are just rolling the ball out, which guys that play college ball, watch how good of base runners they are. Actually, I'll retract that because most college bred guys are excellent base runners because it's forced on them and it's fresh. Guys can go through the minor league systems and not learn a lick about running the bases because they can hit the ball hard. They can hit the ball far. No one's going to, and they don't have to learn as much. And, that you see this a lot, athletic ability sometimes trumps, sometimes it just trumps it in general, but sometimes it doesn't. And, little things equal big things. And if you want to stay healthy, you've got to play the game right. And, these are reasons why guys get hurt, bench, you see Cody Bellinger the other day, right? Although I texted how happy I was. Fly ball, dead straight at him, butt slide, catch. Excellent. That's not a face first dive. That's not a side awkward, whatever. It's a butt slide, just like you're sliding in the second to catch the baseball and secure it. That is a fundamental move by a very good fundamental ball player, at least defensively, and safe. Some of these guys, Bryce Harper, remember when Bryce got hurt? A couple of times he's gotten hurt, but the one time his first injury was him, again, playing recklessly, not playing. Because you know what? Bryce has always been able to get away with just being Bryce, whether it was in high school or whether in college. And he doesn't know those things. And I feel like especially guys like him have actually said, shit, I want to play a longer career. I'm going to have to learn some shit. And, these are things that you hate to see around the league, but I hope that hopefully these types of injuries are wake-up calls. Oh my God, that is a nice duck. So I don't know. It's sad to see a guy get hurt if if it was by accident, if it was on purpose, if he was trying to take Sebi out. Well, there's karma. When you try to hurt somebody, things come back to you. But in the end, it all comes down to bad fundamentals. And it also comes down to making a poor decision on first contact. And if he got hurt on first contact and it was a called first contact play, his coach owes him an apology too, because he shouldn't have been moving on that.
Well, since we're talking about injuries, we might as well do our White Sox recap real quick. Everyone's hurt again. Yeah.
Sox are back.
Joe Kelly got hurt running in from the outfield. Yoan Moncada has back tightness. Eloy's got, what was his back tightness too, or no? He was a hamstring tightness. It
Could
was
be back
tightness though.
though this weekend. Maybe.
And then in a weird rundown play, Hanser Alberto kind of had a shitty throw, and Tim Anderson went knee to knee with the guy on the Twins, and he's out 2 weeks with a sore knee. Now, it's real easy, I think, for White Sox fans to just throw their hands in the air and be like, oh, this shit's just like last year. This team's cursed and all this shit. I get it. It's warranted, whatever. To me, it's different. Because last year, like, Eloy tore his pec. He was out for like 4 months. You know what I mean? Like, guys were hurt for months, not weeks, months. So I don't know if they're doing this as like precautionary, like throwing Moncada on the 10-day DL just with the back soreness, just because they want him to be all the way healed. Because we saw them, trotting Luis Robert out there last year, swinging with one fucking hand.
Wait, did they put Moncada? I don't think they did.
Oh, he's not even on the IL?
No, see, I was gonna bring it up. How
he has to be. They called someone up.
Well, Lenine Sosa came up for.
Oh yeah, he came up for TA.
Moncada's not. Moncada's
No,
not.
Yeah.
That was
not
the criticism. Is you don't like, especially for Moncada. Like some guys, like maybe they can grind through with injuries, but we've seen when Yohan Moncada isn't close to 100%, he sucks.
Yeah.
And I mean,
he was the hottest player. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good that they gave him like the entire series of Minnesota off, but like you're kind of playing it. You're playing with fire here. Like it's like, all right, Yohan, and back issues. I mean, Zoe, I think you've dealt with it. Like that shit doesn't just go away. It can be a nagging thing.
That'll fuck everything up. But I look at it more as them being almost overly precautious, especially this early in the season.
Yeah.
Because remember, this is a team that made Luis Robert swing the bat with one hand last year. Like
for weeks.
So I'm actually kind of okay with how they're handling this right now, because it's April 13th. You know what I mean? Like if we're in the middle of the season in a divisional race, or towards the end of the season divisional race, I think Yohan Moncada plays. I think, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's different. But I know there's people out there that hate when people say it's early, don't worry. I still see a lot of positives in this White Sox team. I mean,
it's Michael Kopech, so tough after last year.
No, and I get that. The White Sox fan are scorn.
Yeah.
Are just I get
like
it.
The White Sox are gonna have to be in for they clinched the AL Central before.
Yeah, like the 2020.
Like Sox fans are like, okay.
2019. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get all that. Like, and again, I'm not trying to tell you how to feel or like downplay the emotion there, because I understand. I mean, guys, I was there too. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but I still think it's kind of lazy to already, after how many games have they played?
13, I think.
13 games out of 162 to already be like, here we go again. Like, I just kind of think that's lazy. I mean, I already see like Luis Roberts already playing better than he did all of last year.
Yeah.
And Yohan Moncada before the injury was one of the hottest players in baseball. I mean, yes, there's glaring downsides, but Michael Kopech looked way better in his second start. Lance Lynn, I'm a little concerned about. But Lucas Giolito pitched great in Minnesota on Wednesday.
I was going to say, even with Lance Lynn, I mean, after how awful he looked against the Giants, and yeah, he gave up those 2 early home runs against the Twins, but he settled down, when I think he went 6 innings, only gave up those 3 runs.
And he had like 10 Ks.
10 Ks, yeah. Like that's what you want out of Lance Lynn.
And I mean, I know no one likes to talk about him, but the fucking scumbag's pitching pretty good too. And Cease is a perennial Cy Young candidate. You know what I mean? Like, the pitching's going to be there. The bullpen's a little suspect still, but you got to remember the cavalry is eventually coming with Garrett Crochet and Liam Hendricks. And but there's a lot more positive. Now, Tim Anderson was playing good before he got hurt. Yohan Moncada was playing good before he got hurt. Eloy was doing okay before he got hurt. And all these guys will be back soon. Again, we're not talking 2-3 month injuries. We're talking a week. And I know it's hard when we live in a Twitter everyday type thing, but like, it's going to be okay. Take a fucking breath a little bit. And I would never dare to say enjoy the ride, but like it's going to be okay. Now, my biggest areas of concern with this team right now is Elvis Andrus. And
Bah.
how many times did we say this on the show that he's going to retreat to the mean?
Bah.
I mean, the guy's batting, he's had 48 at bats, he's batting 146 with an OBP of 176.
And I know that when he did re-sign with the White Sox in February, and fans and some try to make the argument, it's like, oh, well, like maybe like he was holding out because he was still waiting for like a shortstop job to open up, and it's like, well, I mean, there's got to be a reason 29 other teams are passing
Right.
up on a solid defensive guy, like in the start of spring training, because
And
they don't
I
think
mean,
he's good.
It's just bad. Your boy Fizz, Andrew Vaughn's starting to come around too after a slow start. He's
Yeah.
put hard contact, no home run yet for him though, but he's finding
Doubles
gaps,
machine.
and I'm okay with that. I'm good with that.
He's carrying my fantasy team in the doubles category. I love it. Yeah.
I'm pretty encouraged on what I've seen so far from Oscar Colas. I mean, for a rookie, at first 40 at bats in Major League Baseball, hitting 275, that's almost a hit every third at bat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that. His situational hitting. My biggest thing with Oscar right now is when bases are loaded or you got a runner in scoring position, you don't have to swing for the Dan Ryan. You know what I mean? Like he needs to
He's
learn
been over
more on.
anxious.
You get that.
I think he will too. I think he just needs to bat on ball, dude. Just make contact there. Like if you're playing MLB The Show, don't square swing it. You got to circle swing that bitch. Contact swing, bro. Like,
You know what I love about Andrew Vaughn too is of his hits,
eyes.
which are all singles and doubles.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, more than half actually a majority. Only 4 have not been pulled.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, I mean, some a little bit more up the middle, but he's got a couple balls down the line. You know, I guess he's got the home run that was down the line too.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a home run? Yeah, did he hit one? Has he left the yard yet, or no?
Andrew Vaughn has no home runs.
Okay, that's just a double off the wall then. Okay.
Yes. He's hit the wall a couple times.
He's good. Those are right down the line. So he's
Feeling it
pulling
nicely from a break.
He's getting out front a little bit, which is great. As we talked about, these guys have been working on. A lot of these guys have been working on pulling the baseball this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Started to pay off a little bit. Started to pay off. So
I mean, Yasmani Grandal very noticeably is healthy again. He is back there like a mongoose blocking balls, and I appreciate it. I mean, the hitting's, he's batting 263 so far. It's okay. I mean, it's all right.
I mean, that's a higher average than his career. He's he's benefiting from the shit, like Eric Hosmer as well.
Yep.
Some of these left-handed hitters, they're benefiting from the restricted shifts.
And since Mitch isn't here, I'll say it. Seby's been a great fucking backup. I think Sebi he's batting 308. I mean, that's only in 13 at bats, but his defense is there. He's made the play on O'Neal Cruz. He's made a couple other plays. Like, I feel way more comfortable at games when Seby's at catcher than I did before. Put it that
Dog
way.
loves it. Dog loves Sebi.
See, everybody loves Sebi. And then I did want to say one thing though before we definitely need to talk about the Cubs because the Cubs have been very impressive. But so part of the Ruiz is gone. So I know a lot of White Sox fans are happy. Jose Ruiz, they actually got cash for him, which is wild to me. But that gave a guy, how do you say his first name?
Keenan? Kevin, you told us.
Keen,
right?
Keen Middleton.
Just call it Middleton.
Yeah, Middleton.
KM.
Wait, is it Middleton or Middleton?
Oh shit.
It's Middleton.
Oh, you were
today. It's Middleton. He's pitched 2 innings and he struck out 5 guys already. And I like what I'm seeing with him. I like how he's going north south. I like how he's setting people up with the softer stuff and then throwing 98 down their throat to finish them off. I like that he's talking a little shit on the mound after he strikes people out. We need a little bit of that fire. And I mean, I guess he's a guy that to me it seems like he's seizing his opportunity, which is what you want to see out of guys like that. And then the last thing I want to mention with the White Sox before we move on, Hanser Alberto is officially Lurie Garcia this year. It feels like White Sox Twitter especially, and White Sox fans in general, because I'm sure in other platforms it's the same thing. They always need that guy that like everyone communally hates. And right now, that's Hanser Alberto. The error against the Twins, in extra innings, bad. The throw to TA that ended up getting him hurt, real bad.
He had another error too in that game
Yeah,
again.
and he did have another error in that, but he hit the home run. And everyone's like, "Oh, he made up for it," and then he got TA hurt. So then everyone fucking was like, "Fuck that guy."
It's like fuck you.
Yeah.
It's like you might have won us the game. You were the only offense, but fuck you.
The toughest thing though with Hanser Alberto is that's the new skipper's guy. Like that's his Joe Kelly. Like he handpicked that dude to come in.
Wait, no, who was that one random Jake Lamb?
Yeah,
Remember,
that was one of
that
LaRussa's
Tony's guy
guys.
too?
But like Joe Kelly, Tony literally called him and was like, "Hey man, I already talked to him. They said they'd give you this money. You want it?" Like Joe Kelly was TLR's guy. But right now, Hanser Alberto seems to be the South Side's whipping boy. Like he is just people. So on Wednesday when the White Sox lineup came
Pull
out,
up your tweets though. Let's see.
I
Let's
saw-
see how many replies there
all
were.
right, I will pull it up because this is funny as shit. I tweeted out. Hold on, might as well just pull it up.
So White Sox getaway day, or from the Minnesota.
Yeah,
series
but it's
finale.
still the Twins, so people are still pumped for it. Like whatever. Hold on, where is it?
Pedro
Come on.
Grifol said, they're preparing every day to kick your ass.
Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen.
Share, baby, share. Do it for mama.
Oh Jesus, you got cock, you got balls. All right. So here's tweet, or how do I zoom in?
Good catch, though. You're too fucking young.
There you go.
All right. So harmless tweet, quote tweeted the White Sox starting lineup, and when I clicked on the comments for the starting lineup right out the gate, it said like a lot of people were bitching about Hanser Alberto being in the lineup, and I was like, well, my tweet said people seem upset about Hanser at third. My question is, who do you want there? Because in my head, I'm thinking there's no way people are going to say Berger because he blew out both his Achilles. He can't go left to right. Like he is not good in the field. That's one of the reasons they can't trade him is because he doesn't have a position. And
Missionary. Never mind.
Let's go to replies. Jake Berger. Lineup looks weak as shit. They're going to be under 500 this year. Right. My biggest concern is right field. Of course, Ken W.O. says Lurie. And I told him to get the fuck out of here. I prefer Moncada not to miss 2 weeks into the season. Now, P. Knowles is actually being serious when he says Jose Rodriguez.
Okay.
And then here we go. Berger, Montoyo, Berger, pretty much anyone else. Berger. This guy's, I guess he's recommending a traffic barrel.
That's
Berger, Mark Tehian.
Mark Tehian. Shut up.
Literally Jake Berger.
Rewind real quick and go back a little bit. Go back up. I think we need to really appreciate the fact that someone recommended a traffic barrel here for assistance if needed.
Yep.
At third base.
So this account, Fizz, just so you know, this account literally just replies to every Barstool president tweet and says this exact wording. That's his whole account.
Michael Dendor, thanks for the share because I laughed inside.
So where were we at? Here we go.
Obviously, Jake Berger.
Literally Jake Berger. Berger
Jake
isn't good defensively, but I still feel like he'd be better at third. We got another Lurie. We got a Berger emoji. We got Kinsosa play there. Ultimately, Hanser needs time like anyone in the bigs. I can't imagine he's going to get worse than he's already done. Doesn't matter who's at third. Daytime Giolito getting smoked anyways, which usually is true, but he pitched pretty damn good against the Twins.
You keep talking that slander, White Sox fans.
Berger Giff, Berger, Sosa or Gonzalez, Romy, the ghost of Yohan Moncada, Manny Machado. There's a couple Manny Machados in here.
Would have been nice though.
Jake Berger, Pedro play there himself, Berger. Well, with everyone getting days off, kind of no choice there. Well, this guy gets it. Berger or Romy, Berger. His last 2 games, he cost them their star shortstop, and he cost the game in the other. He's a liability.
I like Kim Jong-un's.
Damn near me. Honestly, all I do is smoke weed, fold clothes, and eat steak tacos. I mean, that sounds like he's living. Berger or Romy, Moncada on a lounge chair with a cooler. Jake Berger with GIF. Nobody would be just as good.
Oh,
Berger, Joe,
man.
there's a couple Joe Creedys.
Oh,
Joe Creedy, Berger, Robin Ventura. This one got me laughing. This out of all these replies, this is the one I laughed at. Herbert Perry, the milkman.
Gary
That's a-
Duchnagel. That's
that
Gary.
is that is a pull right there.
So at
for
what
White Sox
point
fans.
social media account Gary Duchnagel. He's
What's
going
up?
through those replies though? At what point were you like, all right, I'm not liking it anymore?
I think right here. Yeah, Hanser really helped us in the field yesterday, right? It's like, okay, dude, I get it, but that's not the
Dang,
question.
Baron.
that's actually
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Burger,
Oh, so you're
Burger.
being selective. So you liked every single one except for a
I
few.
do. You know me on Twitter. I like everything.
You're in beef love, like horse.
Yeah, I'm a like whore, but I mean, you really got to suck for me not to like it. Someone who could field and throw, is that too much to ask for? Hanser is bad as Burger.
Why not?
Maybe someone who's actually at their basement.
View it. Who is
Do
it? John,
Oh.
you got muted by Zoe. Shame on you, Mr. J.
Oh, I know why. This guy, like the White Sox
Oh.
can win the World Series, and he'd be mad they didn't win by like 5 runs. He's
Oh,
like that kind of guy.
That's
Madrigal, this one made me laugh. Madrigal.
Hey,
hey.
Shy Sox fan Mike, who's got the million Sox fan follower for some reason. Any other living, breathing human on this earth.
32 likes that you contributed to that horseshit.
Yep. George Brett, that made me laugh. No one just leave that shit wide open. That's pretty.
Open and
fucking Sam Grandal. There's another Machado. Joe Creedy again. Let's bring back the legend. Take the bullets for this one. I know it's okay. This is safe space.
Can I ask this though? Like, if Burger played,
the corpse of Joe Creedy. Joe Creedy's not dead.
I have a question though. If Burger played and sucked, would everyone be pissed that it's Burger and not what's his name? At third now?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, what is this? Click on the profile. Click on the profile.
I'm not.
Click on the profile.
Fantastic. Those are like all the emojis. Like four
that is
rainbows.
like
Really,
every emoji possible.
I mean, no, Kevin. I mean, every fan base has Jake Burger is like fan favorite. Like he is he's literally the Chicago Bears backup QB.
So,
David Bodie.
Yeah.
He's David Bodie with Chris Bryant.
Let me
even
be
better.
very
He has
clear
a better
about this.
story.
Hold on. Let me be very clear about this. I've said this on this show a million times, and I'll say it a million more. I root for Jake Burger actively. I love Jake Burger's story. I love his perseverance. I think he's a great fucking guy. His wife is cool on Twitter too, which is always a bonus. And I'll root for him all day. I personally think if we called Jake Burger right now and I'd be like, dude, do you think you should play third base every day? He'd probably say no because he knows he can't go left to right. I'm just saying, like, I actually didn't mind him at first base the other night when they had to put him there in a pinch. I was like, not bad. He does have a very hot bat right now. It's definitely cooled off a little bit. You know, at 11 at bats, he's batting 273 right now, but he does have the big home run and, you know, he hits the ball fucking hard. But like, that's the problem with Jake Burger, man, is he doesn't have a position.
Doesn't have a position.
Yeah. And it's kind of like what's his name too, the big lefty. You know, for the Cubs.
Sheets.
Put him anywhere. Sheets. It's difficult though too because when a guy is that limited, I mean, you have to do what you got to. I mean, your defense takes precedence. Like to be honest, especially when you have guys like Cease out there, you have guys.
Not if you look at right field.
Well, again, you got to do what you got to do because your general manager didn't give you depth. So like,
exactly, that's what I'm saying. But it's not taking. It's not taking. It's like
everything we've talked about for like
it goes back to the top.
All back to Rick Hahn and the front office not putting together a complete baseball team.
What is it? Aloha, Mr. Hand always says. The White Sox strategy is to hope. Or it's hope
everyone stay healthy.
Stays healthy. Yeah. Hope everyone stays healthy. Like that's.
Yep.
And that's the part for the tough part. So, and I know, I love that you're finding because there are positives. You're right. Like not everything is fucking. The White Sox aren't the Oakland A's.
Right.
There are positives on the team, but it is frustrating. Like even if the injuries this year have been minor, it's literally the same guys. So like, what makes anyone think like this won't happen again in May, in June? And then you have another 2 weeks where the offense sucks because you have to start 3 guys who aren't that good.
That's not a foul. That's
the Tim Anderson one's a freak accident, so I'm okay with Tim. It's the big 2 who are the usual suspects, and that's Eloy and Yohan.
And Moncada.
And I don't know what they got to do. I don't know what they can do at this point, but those are the two that I think fall most into the category you just described. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
worried about Tim. Tim was a weird knee-to-knee thing. Like,
Tim's going like on 4 straight years though now, or 3 straight years of missing time.
but again, this wasn't like a soft tissue injury. This has not. I mean, this was literally.
You know,
just
this
freak,
was like a freak.
Yeah,
The knee turned or got
Right.
clipped by the runner.
What
in a weird rundown. But
It's like because like even like beyond that, let's say the guys were healthy, right? So you have Moncada starting. You know, you still have Eloy who's out there, but like you can't really trust him on defense anyway.
no,
Even your depth guys, they're showing that they're not good. Like
right,
Elvis Andrews, and he's not even a depth guy. He's just starting second baseman.
right.
Elvis Andrews he's going down the Josh Harrison route, and like you're hoping that it ends that way because Josh Harrison was good in the second half, but that also came after being one of the worst baseball players for 2 months.
Yeah, and I mean the whole Elvis thing. I guess they can say like, see,
ball don't lie, bitch. Sorry, that was a stupid 3-point call.
he's just like, yeah, this is why we signed Elvis, because if Tim went down, we have a shortstop in a pinch, and blah blah. But that's fine. There's a lot of other dudes in this organization that can field the shortstop position. They can probably hit better than 150 whatever. Like Elvis, right now, Elvis is basically an automatic out at the plate. And it's annoying. I know he bats in the 9 hole, whatever, but
And I mean, I don't think Romy is like he's not really doing much, right? Or is
Romy
he?
ain't doing shit.
Yeah, like, and that was like the other big guy.
Romy's
it's
the
like,
other
well,
guy.
Romy's going to be our utility guy.
The 2 worst batting averages on the team right now are Elvis and Romy.
And that's the other thing. Like those guys don't walk, so
No.
it's not like even like, oh well, even if they're not hitting, you know, they'll still get on base a couple times a game with the walk. Nope, they're not going to do that either.
Right. So
It's tough, and I think somebody pointed out the rest of the schedule for the White Sox here in the comments. I mean,
Bulls won.
Bulls are back. Are the Bulls back?
Did you see what happened though?
No,
With 12
Kevin,
seconds,
I'm currently hosting a show, Kevin.
No, let me tell you, Kevin.
Multitask. So pump
When
fake.
the Chicago Bulls can not be in a playing tournament, I'll care about the Chicago Bulls.
Well, foul on the ground, and then the dude jumps, and they call it a 3-point shot. So the guy they gave the guy 3 free throws to tie the game. He missed 2 of the 3. Ball didn't fucking lie.
His ball don't
It's
lie.
over. That'll do
So
it.
Baltimore, who's good. The Philly's pitching staff has been trash, so maybe you guys can beat up on Philly. Tampa Bay, undefeated, best team in the history of baseball.
Can we talk about Tampa Bay for a minute? Tampa Bay's already hit 30 fucking home runs.
It's simple, guys. Hit home runs, you win games.
Tampa Bay is unreal right now.
You hit home runs, you don't give up home runs, you win games, you do the fucking what the Rays do, you don't spend any money on players, and then you just trade them when their value is gone, but other teams still think they're good, and then you just keep doing it for years and years and years.
The Rays are 12-0, and as a team, they have 30 fucking home runs. 30 home runs. Just to put it in context, the White Sox currently have 13.
I mean, I think the Cubs have like 7.
The Cubs have 9.
Yeah, there you go.
9.
The Rays right now have a 4-game lead in the AL East.
Yeah, let's look at that.
That home run differential is insane.
And that run differential is 65 fucking runs.
Oh, by the way,
just the home run thing itself is impressive. But let alone
Rays, I think the Rays also have one of the top like ERAs.
Oh, they're unreal, dude.
And they're averaging 12,000 fans a game.
Well,
hell yeah.
That's a whole different rant for a different time. That stadium is just fucking cheeks. But before we switch over to the Cubs, so we can go around the league a little bit. There's some teams, baseball, it's fun this year. It looks like, I know there's a lot of younger guys kind of making their way in the league right now. And I know Baltimore's a 500 team at 6-6, but they're doing the sprinkler celebration with dudes spitting water. They got the dong bong. they're taking a fake beer bong. But I mean, Baltimore's a good team too. But and then I mean, the AL Central still sucks. But
the AL Central is
who's on top of the AL West? The Texas fucking Rangers.
The Rangers, who the Cubs beat 2 out of 3. Bang.
7-4 right now. Houston, the Astros are struggling a little. Not really. I mean, they're 6-7, but the Rangers are fun. Rangers got a good team. They're a lot of fun. The Braves are a fucking unit again, and the Mets are doing all right. But It's just I don't.
I mean the hat you're wearing, the Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll's off to that dude's just
That's my
amazing.
guy.
Yeah.
But he's not going to win Rookie of the Year because Jordan Walker is breaking Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams records for most consecutive hits to start
As
the year.
long as Jordan Walker doesn't turn into Shohei Ohtani, I'll be fine because Cardinals can't pitch, so I'm good.
Yep. Yeah. So
But
for
it is
all of you,
12 game hitting streak, 20-year.
For all of you joining us after the Bulls game, welcome. We just talked about the White Sox and how I'm not down on them. You can go back and listen to that later. Talking about baseball just around the league real quick because the Rays are unbelievable.
Oh, speaking of, I did want to bring this up. Speaking of Shohei Ohtani, I know what you're doing, Angels. The Angels are like, okay, you don't want to re-sign with us, buddy? We're going to make you throw 110 pitches every start.
We're
going to make you hurt by July.
I mean,
fuck you, Angels.
I think he just broke one of Nolan Ryan's records with the Angels for most consecutive games with under 2 hits given up.
Gee, that
5+ innings, under 2 hits.
Dude's amazing.
As a pitcher, when you're breaking Nolan Ryan's records, you're doing something very correct.
Yep.
That's another documentary I strongly suggest anybody that's listening to the show go watch on Netflix because it's awesome.
I think that's one thing we do, like as amazing as Ohtani has been, right? But like when he came over and then he had, I think he had Tommy John, right? Or like an elbow surgery. I think it was Tommy John, yeah. So like, it took him a while to like really get into like being a starting. We forget that Shohei Ohtani was like known to be a really good pitcher, and now he is clearly a better
healthy.
Like he's just a better pitcher than he is hitter, and he's still like a top 10 hitter in the American League.
Great. Are you trying to puff up your double draft in our fantasy league?
Yes.
Although you drafted both.
I cannot believe I got Shohei Ohtani, the hitter, and the pitcher.
Got a 2-for-1. It's great.
He's great.
Well, speaking of drafting fantastic, let's talk about the number 1 ranked fantasy player in our league right now. Finally out of the AL Central, goes down to Miami. The guy just can't stop hitting. Hit the first cycle in the history of the Marlins franchise on his 12th game with the team. Luis Arias,
like above 500.
Is just a maniac right now. He's an absolute maniac right now. I can't win in fantasy baseball. The rest of my team sucks, but he is a fucking. I might have to trade him, but right now he is batting literally 500. And that's
decent.
After 46 at bats. He's batting 500.
23 for 46.
Yes. He has 32 total bases, 1 home run. His slash line right now is 500, 558, 696 with an OPS of 1.253.
Decent.
He's already a 1.3 WAR.
Decent.
13 games into the season.
13 games.
Oof.
Solid.
Never been happier to see a guy not in the AL Central.
And then we talked about it. I mean, I know obviously he was such a big annoyance at the top of the lineup for the Twins against the White Sox, and I mean every other team that they played. But I think that's going to be the rare win-win trade for both those teams because the White Sox saw it. Pablo Lopez shut you guys down after that first inning on Tuesday. Yeah, and he's been great his first 3 starts.
Pablo had a pretty shitty first inning. White Sox should have put up more runs. They had bases loaded, no outs. They still got 2 runs thanks to Andrew Vaughn's double. But after that, I think Pablo went on to like retire like 20 in a row or some shit.
Yeah, I think it was 23 in a row. They lifted him with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't touch him. They couldn't touch him. His sweeper and his changeup were unreal.
Yep.
So, but
Pablo Lopez.
Let's talk about the Cubs. Because Cubs right now, as they sit, they're 6-5. They're 1.5 games back from the Brewers. Cubs are rocking a positive +10 run differential right now.
I mean, I
think we all know what it is, but this is a nice kind of little surprise to start the season.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's fair to say, right?
Absolutely.
This is exactly. This is. I mean, I said it after that. I mean, the Tuesday game was it was amazing. Hayden Wesneski, our guy. I'm so sorry again. It's the classic Pinwheels Ivy jinx. Like Hayden Wesneski's looked terrible.
Yeah, I didn't fall for that again. I did not bet on him again.
His start looked worse than it was. Only 2 earned runs. There was 2 big errors in that second inning.
And how many pitchers were called balls?
Seven. Yeah, I looked back at that, Kevin. Yeah, you're right. 7 called balls were in the strike zone. So, but he didn't get. No, he didn't strike anybody out. Nobody was really fooled by his slider. He hasn't been sharp. I think it's a mechanical fix, though. The fastball looks a little off, so it's probably something in his motion. Look at that video. Get it together. Shut down the A's next week. But the Cubs are down 7-0. So second inning. We're MFing everybody. Kevin, do you know when you get positive Kevin? When the Cubs are like trailing. When the Cubs are just getting their ass blown out. Kevin's like, come on, guys. Let's stick together here. Let's get a couple runs, hold them down, put a couple zeros. And then it took the Cubs 2 innings. But down 7-0, and then they went 9-7 heading into the 4th inning.
And I always say, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. No, that was like literally like 2 chomps. That was so fast. That was so fucking fast. Like it was like I went on a walk, and so that whole inning, I'm actually on a walk around my neighborhood, and I've got my phone out. So I could have probably walked into traffic not knowing. I was just literally like locked into the game on my MLB app or whatever. And I'm serious. Like every time it happened, I'm like, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? And every time I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it's probably gonna end, and I can put the phone back in my pocket because I'm starting to get like G.I. Joe kung fu grip from holding a phone and walking. And when you start getting the build of the water, but I'm like, okay. Nope, kept going. That whole half inning was 15 minutes minimum of my walk, and every time it kept getting more and more, my pace started increasing. Like it's like if I had a playlist that started going from like bluegrass to like techno, while I was like trying to like pace myself. It was insane. And the fact is, it was a tough day to hit the wind or to pitch. The wind was blowing out. And I'll touch on the Wesneski thing too. Is he's a rookie? It really is a rookie. And he's going to have these moments. He's going to learn. He's got to learn to pitch at Wrigley. He's got to learn what works and how to throw when the wind is blowing out at Wrigley, because it happens on a regular basis. It's just part of the beast of playing there. But although, I mean, again, you brought it up. Was it 2017? Last time we had something that felt like that? Was it like? It felt different. 15 because it felt different.
I specifically brought up 50, and this is why I know some people are making fun of me. It's like, well, they lost. Like they didn't win that year. Like, no, that's not the point, guys.
No.
Like the point is the feeling of like, in retrospect, we look back at those teams like, oh, they were always good. Like, no. The 2015 Cubs, I looked it up specifically because I'm like, no, fuckers. I that team wasn't projected to just be
fuckers.
They were just projected to run away with the NL Central from 2015.
They were 1 year away from even being irrelevant.
Because the big stars weren't up yet. Chris Bryant, like they were playing the service time shit with him. He didn't come up until like the second week of April or whatever it was. I mean, Javier Baez that year, he started the year at AAA. He got hurt. He didn't come up until September. Yep. Aston Russell, shitty guy, came up later in the year. Kyle Schwarber was later in the year. Wilson Contreras was until 2016. The 2015 Cubs, they were projected to win like 82 games. They're like a barely like 500 projected team, which is similar to this team. Yes, the makeup is different. There's more veterans. There's not as many like high profile of the stars. Like there's not a Chris Bryant up,
right,
like waiting in the wings. Maybe if Pete Crow Armstrong has a huge year this year, maybe he gets close to that level. But even then, that's a high expectation. Chris Bryant was like, and even Chris Bryant, we didn't know. Like that wasn't a guarantee that Chris Bryant was going to be the player that he turned out to be with the Cubs. But like it's that feeling of if certain things go right, and like it's not everything has to fall into place, because like we've seen some cracks even in their good play early on, but they have enough decent enough players. Like I think we forget how many bad players they had on the roster last year. And like and even like I know we've been talking about it since like January, since he was signed. Even Eric Hosmer, as much as I don't think that like in the long term it's going to work out with him, like even him at his baseline is like so much better than what they had at first base. So like, even that, just these improvements across the board at different positions. It's a group that like they're out to prove something. Dansby Swanson's coming in. He's like, this is my team now, kind of, because he was with so many other stars in Atlanta, and he signs the big free agent deal. So it's like kind of he's the guy who's going to be looked at as like, oh, it's Dansby Swanson's team.
Make me an offer, Troy. Make me an offer.
So you can fleece some guys. He's hot. And like the pitching, I know it's been frustrating with Wisniewski, but he's still young. It's only 2 starts, and we saw what he can do when he's on last year. Marcus Stroman has looked great. Justin Steele has looked great. Even Drew Smiley, what we saw last time, it was like 5 innings, 1 run. You're gonna like that's all again. Like we were talking about Lance Lynn, he went 6 innings, gave a 3. Like you'll take it. You just want quality starts from these guys, lower in your starting rotation. And that's just like kind of the feeling you get. Like there are a few younger guys that could come up, contribute, make this team fun. You have a couple stars. You have Swanson's playing great. Nico Horner is playing great. Ian Happ. Ian Happ is off to an amazing start. He has like a 500 on base percentage and extension. We can get into that too. Like the pieces are there, guys. I know maybe I have the drinking the Kool-Aid, have the glasses on, whatever. Like they are better. And I know everyone's like, oh, like they don't have like a lot of stars.
No,
not all the stars that were there in 2015 were stars yet. Anthony Rizzo, like he was a good player. Like, you know, it was like, okay, first baseman, right? But like took a big step in 2015.
Javi Baez
after that. Yeah. Like Javier Baez, like he wasn't even playing every day until 2016.
Right.
It's just like that year, Dexter Fowler they signed him to play center field. Why? They just needed somebody to be steady. Yep. Just a veteran player in center field. Who did the Cubs get this year? Cody Bellinger. Yep. Just someone to be a good defensive player in center field, and hopefully he gets hot. And that's like, I mean, he hit a home run today. Just get him rolling. Get some of these other guys rolling. Call up some of the guys in, and I get it. I'm with you, Kevin, because as long as these guys are producing, as long as Eric Hosmer keeps hitting like near 300, fine.
Yep,
that's fine. I'll take it.
That's fair.
And like as long as like even I'm not the biggest magical guy, but I mean he was hitting up until today. You know, he got a couple of starts recently. He was like hitting 300s. So as long as these guys just keep producing, the starting rotation I think is going to get better. Like Hayden Wisniewski isn't going to be shitty every time out. And the other guys, Jameson Taillon, again, another. The thing that's been frustrating about some of these losses has been the Cubs do need to have like near perfect defense. And we've seen it when they don't, they start to give up these runs. And right now, the offense, especially without Seiya Suzuki and without too much left-handed power, they don't have that huge firepower to stay in games. Even though, I mean, they did it on Tuesday, but that 14 runs, 18 hits, you're not going to get that on a daily basis. So I'm pumped, to say the least.
And I love
LDR. I'm pumped.
I love Aldo on the Kool-Aid. It's super, super, super great, and I'm really happy about it. I again, a little cold water on all of this because we've had our hearts broken before. At this point, the Cubs are currently 6-5. Last year, through 7 games, the Cubs were 5-6. They had actually had an easier schedule last year than this year, so that's a bonus. But as of April 12th of last year, the Cubs were 3 games over 500 on April 18th of last year. They were 2 games over 500. They were 6-4 on April 18th last year after a 4-2 win over the Devil Rays. So at this point, when they were 6-4, they're 6-5. It's really close. Before we get too tied up again, it's a different schedule this year, which is great because they get to play everybody. And I think the Mariners are a good team. So I think that the Cubs have actually played in their first 2 series. They've played 2 of the tougher, 2 of 3 series against good teams. The Rangers are not bad either, but
I just want to ask,
I'm not trying to throw Kool-Aid, like cold water on you.
Kevin, though, who's playing first base during this time last year?
Oh God, the Schwindel experiment.
Who's playing center field for the Cubs this time last year?
Probably some guys back in groceries now at this
point. Who's playing second? Like
Alizé, right?
Who was? No, first base was a fuking Schwindel. Center field was like Rafael Ortega, Hermosillo, and
it was Happ in center. It was Happ out in center.
No, Happ was in left.
And Seiya was, but we had Seiya last year at this time too.
And this time they don't, and they're still 6-5. Look, you're making my argument for me, Kevin.
I'm not trying to kill your argument either, bro. I am 100% swimming in the Kool-Aid. I've got Wolf and Brindley diabetes from the Kool-Aid at this point. I literally just talked ourselves through a 7-0 deficit. I'm 100. Again, this is the team that I picked to win the division. I'm actually feeling I'm happy about this, but also you got to temper the expectation, the fact that long season. Things have gone really well for the Cubs, but the one thing that we took away, we talked about this with Joe from Obvious Shirts a couple weeks ago. This team isn't built for hot and cold streaks. This team is built by moving the line, putting the ball in play, playing great defense. So like you say, when the defense comes up, this team is built to pick the ball. And when they don't, they're not going to be as good as what they're bad. They're not great, but that's the buildup, the makeup of this team, which is I love teams that play great defense and put the ball in play. And so this team is doing something that, again, I'm going to say this, baseball is going to go back to here over time. This only long ball or strikeout mentality and approach is now that they can't blame the shift and they found out that moving the rubber back actually makes it harder to hit. They're finding out that they're going to have to adjust guys that are putting the ball in play now become more valuable. I know that like Eric Hosmer, for example, doesn't hit a lot of homers. But watching his at-bats are pleasurable to me because he just strafes the ball. He fights off pitches. And I mean, did you see that hit the other day? The ball was like 8 inches outside. He just kind of kept his hands back and just popped it out, found some outfield grass, and started an inning. Like this team is fun to watch. And I mean, they're not even doing they're not a bunch of shenanigans. Like they're really not. Like they're just out the way they play the game. Dansby Swanson scoring on basically like a single because
that was like no matter what level of fan you are, that was just like baseball orgasm.
Yep.
He just literally caught a guy sleeping and just boom and took it and he pops up. I mean, that's good hard-nosed blue-collar baseball.
It was like look at our star free agent hustling up in late in a game in a 5-run game, but he's still hustling.
Cubs marketing team's like, oh fuck yeah.
So, actual news though that I want you guys to talk about is the Cubs handed out a pretty important contract extension on Wednesday. This player is obviously his future with the squad was thought to be very much in jeopardy last season. Even going into this year, I don't know if he's going to be here next year. And then on Wednesday, that all changed because the Cubs gave Ian Happ a 3-year extension. So what do you guys think about that?
I mean, if you look at the terms, 3 years, $61 million. So the money
amazing.
seems about
the money's great.
The money's great. It's $20 million a year. The years though, it's surprising because it's like Ian Happ could have waited, another 6 months, hit free agency, probably could have easily topped $100 million, like if he wanted to, like on a 5-6 year deal. Because I mean, if you look at Benintendi got this past year, he got 5 for 75, but then Happ in a much weaker free agent class for position players, he could have been like a top 5 free agent signing, which again sounds crazy, but that's just like the free agent class that's going to be. There's no excuse for the Cubs now. They have Ian Happ for 3 years on again, it's not a long-term commitment. So this deal starts in 2024. They locked up Nico Horner, same thing. His 3-year extension starts in 2024. They have Swanson locked up for 6 more years after 23. Seiya Suzuki's 3 more years after this year. There's no excuse to sign a premier free agent starting pitcher because that's what the free agent class, the big stars are this coming year. They can't fall back on we have a Jason Hayward contract on the books here that we don't have the flexibility. No. You don't. You have these guys on fairly reasonable deals. You can argue team friendly deals, which hey, congrats. Ian Happ said it, and you can see it. But the commitment, Ian Happ again could have waited 6 more months, played another. He could have just repeat. He didn't have to be that much better than he was last year. He would have broke the bank for him. Long-term deal. He could have named his price almost just because of the weak free agent class. But he only signs a 3-year deal. He just wanted to save the Cubs. Feels comfortable. We don't. Again, every case is different in free agency. What players feel, what they want, what their priorities are. Ian Happ, heading into his prime years, he's like, I'm good. Love it here. Give me 3 years. Give me a little bump in the AAV, and let's call it a deal.
I think
I love it.
I think he really kind of took a step back and looked around and saw what was going on with Dansby Swanson. Coming out of the gate hot. Nico's fucking a very good baseball player for a lot of years to come, and he's probably just like, I want to be part of this. Like, I think I can fuck with this and put ink to paper.
But that said, too, I mean, all these guys really wanted to stay. It was just a matter of, in one case, one guy getting an actual contract offer, and the other two getting something that was more market value. This is market value for Ian Happ. This is a good. It may be a slight tick down in a pay cut, but all those guys were willing to take a pay cut if it was a larger contract with some no trade, protection and whatnot. So this is it's a nice step for the Cubs. The Nico Hoerner deal, I think, is going to age well and be way under market by the time he's done with contract.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I think Nico kind of jumped a little too soon. Even I almost feel bad for the kid, but he's young and they take advantage of it. That's fine. It's whatever. He's getting paid now. It feels nice. He's not worried about that just yet. And you have a team that's set. And Yumper is dead on with this. Is that he says that he gave a slight discount, but can get another mega deal after this one runs out if he produces. And he's not going to get it with the Cubs because the 3-year deal also keeps the window open for the Cubs for the Pete Crow Armstrongs, the Owen Caseys, the Kevin Alcantaras, the other young prospects that are coming up that in 3 years are going to be guys that you can get for cheap that are going to produce really well. And at that point, I think we'll see Ian Happ jump to the next franchise that he goes to, but he's going to get a big payday if he produces, and it'll be like one of those. We appreciate you, Ian, unless he turns in like a massive MVP or whatever. But it'll be like we appreciate Ian and go get it, buddy. We also have this though, and this is really awesome. This just helps them make a better franchise. It's a healthy franchise when the prospects pan out, and so I think this is a good deal for Ian. He's gonna get more money after this. He did, he took something slight. He's betting on himself just a tad, because he could, like you said, he could have taken a bigger deal, longer years in free agency. But you know what? He's got a coffee here. Sorry. He's got a podcast. Like, he's got a lot of things that keep him grounded here. And again, Cub fans love him. He is so indicative and representative of like the Cubs. He is such a great ambassador for it. Dansby Swanson's going to become that, just watching him play. Nico is that, getting there too. But Ian Happ has gone through he's one thing that people can relate to is Ian Happ hasn't always had it on a silver platter. Ian Happ has gone up and down, and he has gone through the human experience that we've all done and gone through as like humans, that he has struggled and then had to, he got kicked in the teeth and, had to question whether or not he's going to come back. And then he did come back. He was sent down. I don't know how many times, Aldo. And the kid just kept growing, came back, was persistent, and you just keep pushing forward. You keep punching until you finally get your opportunity, and finally things start falling into place. And now here he is signing a good $20 million plus, AAV contract with the Cubs to stick around. He's perfect. He's a perfect ambassador for not just lovable losers, but for blue collar people everywhere that have struggled and then have found some way to push through things, or those that are going through it, and to let them know, hey, guess what? Shit's a little sour right now, but if you keep punching forward, it's there on the other side. You just got to swing through, a couple miles of shit like in Shawshank to get there. And he did. And that makes it so exciting to see him. It makes it easy to root for Ian Happ. Like, he's so easy to root for in so many different ways. And that makes it
maybe this isn't like a good, like, apples to apples comparison, but like you said, he was sent down. So he comes up. So when was he drafted? He was drafted 2015, gets called up in 2017 in May, has 24 home runs his rookie season. Is pretty damn good. 2018, he's the leadoff hitter, splitting time at leadoff with Almora, getting some outfield time, getting moved around a little. He was like he was like, I think he finished the year like slightly above average. 2019, there's a discussion still of, the Cubs need to shake something up on offense. What are they going to do? Out of spring training, we thought Ian Happ he's like a guaranteed on the spot, right? He starts out the year at AAA, guys. He goes from starting opening day starter in 2018 to riding the buses, like they like to say on his podcast, at AAA with the Iowa Cubs. He doesn't get called up until July. And remember, 2019, it's not like the Cubs were like on fire in 2019. Like, they could have used any solid hitters that they had. He doesn't get called up until July. Since that, he finishes off 2019 decently. The 2020 year happens. Whatever, he had mixed results. That he had like one great month, and then he had like a bad September. 2021 happens. The Cubs are like, we're quote unquote trying. he doesn't get consistent playing time in the first half. And I still remember that's when Jake Marisnick was with the Cubs, and we're like, Jake Marisnick should deserve more playing time over Ian Happ.
Yep.
And then, everybody gets traded. Ever since he's gotten like every day starts in left field where he now feels comfortable, he's been like a top 10 left fielder in baseball. He wins the Gold Glove last year and now is getting paid what he should. And again, like Yemper said, he's, as long as he continues to produce, it's a short gamble in the short term for him. But as long as he keeps producing, he's gonna be in line for another payday. Just great stuff. Just good vibes. Good vibes.
I don't think I've seen you two this happy about the team in a couple of years.
Good vibes.
It's been a bit, man. It's been
literally. Kevin said it. They haven't been multiple games. Like they lost on Wednesday, so they're 6-5. But being at 6-4, it was almost a calendar year since they were 2 games over 500.
I love to see it. I love to see you two this into it. I love it. It's great. I got my new CHGO shirt on. It's always sunny outside, but on the back it says the vibes are immaculate, and I feel like that's what level you two are on now.
And it was like the back-to-back nights though. Too. It's just like when things happen, like because it was the Nico Horner.
I wouldn't know anything about that because the White Sox can't win a series.
The Nico Horner walk-off on Monday night, his first career walk-off, the incredible comeback win on Tuesday after they're losing 7-0. And I'm not going to lie, it's annoying that they won the first 2 games in each of these series against Texas and then Seattle, and then they just lay an egg in game 3, which was a pattern that we saw in 2018, even when they were good, and they're not at that level, close to that level yet. But like you said, that there's encouraging signs with the White Sox. There's a lot of encouraging signs with the Cubs. Just Dansby Swanson's hitting 400. He's 16 for 40. He had a 4-hit game on Tuesday, left in the 5th inning.
And one thing we're not even touching on is the fact that we've talked about this on the show a few times. Although you brought it up a million times, got to miss Barrels. That bullpen, which has done a fantastic job this year, is 3rd in the league in strikeouts?
I think 3rd in the National League, 6th overall after Tuesday.
Yep, that's big time. These are things that make a difference. And a lot of people, it can be, you can be the Yankees and have all that, massive star power, blah blah blah, and that's all fun. LA, the star power, blah blah blah. But there's something to be said about watching a team that goes up there and grinds at bats, that goes up there and puts pressure on the defense, that runs their ass off every time they find ways to just take back. I mean, the Cubs are aggressive on the base pass too, and I love seeing it. And there's a lot of good movement. And so it's so easy to enjoy watching a ball club and this is why this is my favorite brand of baseball. We talked when Joe was on. If there was ever a Cubs team, even KB in that group, I love that group. That's not my style of baseball. I'm not a strikeout, hit the ball
strikeouts,
all the time, right? I hate them. And so strikeouts are the worst. And so this is a team that's literally built to not do it. Now you have a couple guys peppered in there. This is the thing. This lineup and the way it's constructed makes guys like Patrick Wisdom so palatable to me because he's not expected. You're not trying to make him something he's not, but you got enough guys around him that are going to put the ball in play, like Hosmer, like Nico, even with Madrigal too. I mean, Madrigal, when he's out there, he's not playing every day. Right now he has to now because Dansby's out for a couple of days, but even when he's out there yesterday, he remember he stole 3rd the other day on an inside move. Guy tries to invert. He breaks early, reads it, and takes 3rd. Ends up being Nico Horner's RBI game-winning, game-winning run. He literally in that extra inning stole 3rd without a pitch. They're just doing things right, and it's going to drive White Sox fans nuts. But right now, Nick Madrigal is flourishing in his role, he made a throwing error the other day and nobody gave a shit. For the first time, I feel like Nick Madrigal made a mistake and was like, fuck it, move on. They turned the page. I was like,
well, until later in the game. I did see there's a chopper that get over his head and it's like, well, if there is a normal sized human being at 3rd base, they would have filled in the
some people beef loaf are constantly saying that about Andrew Vaughn.
Andrew Vaughn, right?
Even though he made a nice leaping catch on Wednesday it got over his head.
I do think, and although we talked about this too, is I think that they're giving way too much credit to Eric Hosmer for his defense when he's just really just because you bull swiped, Ole, basically
just closing his eyes.
Close your eyes and swing your glove. Just hope it's.
I saw someone tweet you can't argue with Hosmer's defense. And I saw the big swipe scoop he did. Pure luck.
Oh,
Like
that ball's
he's
gonna
done
come
that twice though. He's done
Yeah.
that twice, and everyone's like jizzing their and like, hey, if it was Anthony Rizzo, I probably would be too. Like, there's a built-in bias, but I remember going back to spring training. There was a similar play, and like it wasn't even it wasn't on the side, Kevin. It was like more. It was like right in front of his face, and like he literally closes his eyes as he's closing his glove, and every like Padres fan comes out of the bushes and was like, "Yep, welcome to the Eric Hosmer experience. Yep, this is what you're gonna see. Yep, can't really catch a ball when you close your eyes."
Yeah. No, he does a lot of other things though away from the bag. That make him
He's tall.
It makes him a 4-time gold glover. But how he picks the ball at first ain't it? You know what it reminds me of though? And it's gonna piss a lot of people off. Mark Grace did the same shit his whole career. Mark Grace was like just I don't know how
Mark Grace did it with a cig hanging out of his mouth. And he's fucking didn't wear batting gloves. And
probably in the clubhouse after having sex with a plus size woman. And
Hosmer does have 4 gold gloves.
And it's away from the reception. The receiving is what got him his gold glove. He fields the ball.
I didn't know it was 4.
Range.
I knew he had a couple. I didn't know it was 4.
His last one was like in 17.
He crashes hard. He does a lot of those things really, really, really well. But if you go 70% on those types of picks, people will have the perception that you're an absolute ninja over there. And I think that's kind of what's happened right now. He has missed a few, so but it's hard. At least Mark Grace had the excuse of it was fucking Sean Dunston throwing like 185 miles an hour across the diamond from next to the pitcher's mound. But it's still. You love it. Like again, although you and I, obviously you weren't super high on Hosmer, and I've been trolling you the whole time because I'm super high on just what Hosmer does, and he's doing what he does. But I'm even more critical of that swipe than I don't like it. But hey, these guys are doing little things, and little things equal big things. In the scheme of things, when you're playing in a poorly fundamental league and you play good fundamentals, you find a way to stand out. And the Cubs play good fundamental baseball. And against a team of equal talent, they're going to beat them every time. And with a team that's superior talent, the Cubs have a pretty good shot of beating them right now the way they're doing this. And I love how the Cubs play it. This is not just a testament to, David Ross has some things to clean up on the decision end. Sure. And maybe he's not the answer, but I'll tell you what, the answer of at least solid fundamentals, this coaching staff needs to be commended for how well the Cubs have played the game of baseball in all 3 facets this entire 2023 campaign so far.
We just hear like an engine rev in the background.
Did we get it?
Shit. Oh, shit, he's around.
No, we didn't get it. No, but there are things that, are very encouraging with it. Like, you got to love when a team steps out and wins one of the big free agents, and he comes out of the gate producing right away.
Yep.
Like, that's a great feeling because if it went the other way,
yeah,
Cubs fans would be all over him.
Mm-hmm.
So for him,
bad spring. He had a horrible string. He had 4 hits?
Yes.
4 hits all spring. It was like, oh, here we go. And then
2 of them, but 2 of them came like his last 2 games. But yeah, he was like 2 for 30.
You love seeing Cody Bellinger already having 2 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a Cody Bellinger stat line hitting 238, but slug it or with a 703 OPS. Okay.
Like he just his first 3 games was against Milwaukee. Tough starter pitchers there. Burns, Woodruff, and I think it was Lauer. It might have been Lauer the 3rd game, or was it Peralta? Lauer, I think. And he went 0 for 11.
Right.
And everybody was like, "Fuck, what happened?"
Right.
But he's been pretty much as good as you would want him to do since then.
One of the things I want to ask you guys is, who's your starting catcher? Like if they call you 2 up tomorrow and they're like, "Hey, we need you guys are making the lineup."
It's Yan Gomes.
Gomes, yeah.
Because he at least is complete. I know I've heard nothing but great things about Tucker Barnhart. I think he's an Indiana dude. So I think he has like close friendships with like some Cubs people, but dude can't hit. Yan Gomes can at least get into one.
Yan Gomes is batting 154.
Yeah,
but he has
throw him in the
a home run. He has hit the ball out into the outfield.
Again, a team predicated
has 4 hits.
But here's the thing, Zoe. On a team predicated on pitching and defense and playing the fundamental game of baseball, Gomes is a perfect decision. And this is the old school style of I'm willing to take a catcher that might hit 180.
That is old school for sure.
If he calls a great game and he throws runners out and he keeps everybody honest and he saves bases, the value of his performance behind the dish far outweighs his ability to hit the baseball. We saw that with Wilson Contreras last year. Hits like fucking hell, but catches like shit and poop, and he's not great. And you see with Gomes, the pitchers throw well, especially the way that he's handling the bullpen. I'll take a 1-8 out. Again, this is David Ross incarnate. I mean, really. And
that's what the Cubs were. Another 2015 parallel. Go where the Cubs
And
catches.
so-
It was like Miguel Montero, David Ross.
And
Well,
just
if I
looking
had
at all
Miguel
these numbers,
down here. Ooh,
so
yeah.
Patrick Wisdom is your 2 outcome guy, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Either
Always.
gets into one or he strikes out.
And the Cubs need to utilize his traditional pattern. He's going to be freaking lightning hot for April and a little bit into May. And then once he's burned out, you have other options, and Magical can step in if he starts struggling. You know, you don't have to you're not stuck with Patrick Wisdom when he goes through this the eventual. Hi, I'm Patrick Wisdom. I'll see you on next Friday after I got a couple hits today on a Monday. I'll see you like in 4 or 5 games. You don't have to worry about that. And that's the nice part about this is why it makes this roster, again, makes him so much more palatable. It's enjoyable to watch a guy that goes up there and it's always a threat to hit a home run. He eats lefties for breakfast. He is fantastic against lefties. So you throw him out there against the lefties, you let him play a little bit against the righties, but it's not like you're not preaching that this guy is like the next so-and-so. He's just part of a cohesive unit that does things well when all placed together like pieces of a puzzle. And that's what makes it.
He's been. I think he's been batting like 6th or 7th. Like that's
That's
perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, if he can get up there with a couple guys on, and hopefully
And
he's a home run.
then,
I've
do you
always said
guys,
he's on a
do you
good
guys
team.
think that?
He's fine.
Do you guys think that Marcus Stroman keeps up the K per 9 at 10?
Yeah, no. No, that was the thing though, because I think he early last year too. He wasn't getting as many ground balls as he normally does, with a little bit higher strikeout rate than his career numbers. But this year, he's still getting the ground balls. So like, there hasn't been a lot of fly balls. He has the high strikeout rate. Obviously, I mean, he's not going to stick to that. I don't think he's ever been. He's been like a league average strikeout guy, I think, at best. But as long as he keeps getting the ground balls, which he has been through his first 3 starts, I mean, I think going back to his last like 23, 24 starts, he has like a 2.5 ERA.
Yeah. And you know what he's doing too, and he's learning. Again, he's learning how to pitch at Wrigley. Wait. Owen Casey hit 3 home runs tonight. Hold up.
Oh, baby.
Speaking of why Ian had a 3-year contract, he hit a 459-foot homer, and he also hit a grand. Oh wait, no, who's that? Oh yeah, that's Owen Casey. Yeah. Oh, I like that, Ryan. ONKC. Ooh, that's a hashtag. 3 homers to a 459.
Want a right fielder, Zoe?
What level is he at?
I think it's like
Double A.
Tennessee. Yeah.
It's not. He's
only 20 years old.
He's the kid they got from the Padres, man. He's the Canadian. He's the full-on ginger that needs a lot of sunscreen. Him and Pete Crow Armstrong, sunscreen outfield. Like that would be
trade. So who do you want? What are you giving up for Owen Case?
Left-handed bat, cannon of an arm on the right side.
Was he the dude that was playing for Canada?
Yeah.
In the World Baseball
He's the one who hit the
Classic?
home run off of.
He's a lefty bat, but he hit
Lance Lynn.
Yeah.
No.
He's got a cannon. He's got a cannon. Like
This is a pretty big jump. He's 20 years old at Double A.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's impressive, and I like what I saw with him in World Baseball Classic too.
Huge fan of him. He's one of the guys that I really like of the Cubs prospects. I mean, obviously Pete Crow Armstrong, as long as he stays healthy, but Owen Casey to me has always felt like inevitable. That was of that trade for Yu Darvish. He was the guy that I was like, this guy isn't like some sort of like teenage crapshoot. This guy is already at age 18, basically, he was a beast already. And you see some of the way, just the way he swings his bat. It has a different sound, and that's what makes him so special too. So, of that trade, that might be the steal of the Yu Darvish trade. In a couple of years, we'll talk about all the other prospects that came over. Who else came over from that deal? That was like,
well, the other big name was Prasada.
Yeah, and we're talking about
Mania. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody else, but right now Owen Casey is clearly the stud in that trade. Because
oh yeah,
I mean, honestly, the other guys really haven't. Prasada again, I think had injuries last year, but Owen Casey has definitely separated himself from that group, from that Yu Darvish trade, which at first looked tough because like nothing was happening in 21 for those guys.
And speaking of prospects, Cade Horton, the Cubs
Oh,
2022
5
first
Ks, 5
in his
Ks and
debut.
2 2/3.
Yep, pro debut, 2 1/3, 2 hits, 5 Ks, 47 pitches, 30 strikes.
That slider of his, I know, I get it. It's single A, it's like low A ball. So like any spin is gonna or is gonna fool most of the hitters down there. But that slider is nasty.
So, and this is the thing you got to think about too. Cade Horton is what? He's 21 years old. So he's a 21-year-old, and he's starting out against 18-year-old kids and 17-year-old, foreign prospects too that are coming in a little bit younger. So he's going to dominate a little bit there. I'm looking forward, but you look at the stuff, right? You look at the stuff,
Right.
and the stuff is pretty good.
Fitz, do you look at the stuff?
I'm looking at I'm looking at the stuff and his stuff. He's
You don't
wearing
just go into your rooms though, turn off the lights, turn on the computer, look at guys' stuff.
Now, somebody
Leave
grabs
that door open.
some Kleenex. Someone grabbed some Kleenex. He's wearing number 9. So his number 9 is his number, because I'm gonna really like him if he's a
It
Niner.
might be.
I'm a Niner guy. So if you're
Let me give you an update on how did Palencia do?
Palencia,
I think he pitched tonight.
Let's see.
But yeah, Cubs have some studs coming up. It's just that the trouble with that is just like they're maybe like a year or two away.
yeah, which is perfect for, again, a 3-year contract for Ian Happ.
After you bring in Ohtani, you settle him in, you'll find a way to work it out.
So what you can do is you can backload Ohtani's
I
contract.
love how you say that all casual.
The $500
They're
million
sleepers
contract.
though. I read Bob Nightingale.
Thank you, Bob. But you know what you can do is you can take that Ohtani, $500 million contract over whatever 10 years, and you can say, hey, in year 4 or year 2 or year 3, I make it year 3, I guess, your pay is going to jump because you can pay him a little bit less while you have the Ian Happ contract, and then once you get those younger guys up, there goes Ohtani's contract. You got Owen Casey, you got Pico Armstrong, you got Kevin Alcantara. Hey, you don't have to pay that much, and you've also got a starting pitcher. Oh, absolutely.
So I think you had it in your prediction. You had Trout getting traded. Do you think
More cracked,
Do you think Ohtani gets traded in the summer? If like the Angels are just out of it again?
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Well, I think if they're out of it, I think they have to, because I don't think he's not going to resign with them.
Right. I mean,
trash again.
They would rather get something for him than let him just walk.
All right, let's just little round table here. Cubs and Sox. Who are we giving up?
The Sox would have to give him like the entire city of Birmingham or some shit.
Colson Montgomery.
Well, obviously.
For starters.
Probably Yohan Moncada. I mean, yeah.
Cubs, it's like I'm not willing to take a certain combination of players.
For the Cubs, you probably have to give up top 3 prospects, I mean, like PCA.
The Cubs at least have the horses for it. The White Sox have no chance.
They're basically, it's kind of that's. I mean,
it would have to be like Eloy, Moncada, Montgomery, Kopech. Like
I have to think long and hard about the idea of like, is it at this point we're seeing? Sure, you absolute. I don't know if the Cubs. I don't know if it would be very prudent for the Cubs to make a trade. I think that this one is worth. I as much as I think Ohtani is the most incredible baseball player right now in the game, and him and Mike Trout are both like literally generational. I don't think for the Cubs it's worth just throwing out your prospects with Ohtani. If it guts everything, like if you give up a Casey, you give up a couple major league guys, and you give up a couple other light prospects, but you can't burn the farm for Ohtani. I feel like you've got, especially a couple players that, especially if they pan out, you're going to have an entire outfield that's going to produce, and you do need pitching, and he does. There's all these other things that go along with that, sure, but I feel like for the Cubs, the slow play is a better play for them. You can also shit in one hand and wish in the other and see which fills up first, but I think that maybe waiting, hoping that he maybe hits the market in the offseason, because I just don't think that it's worth gutting it all, because the Cubs aren't there yet. They're not a World Series team. They're a team that's fun to watch, but they're not a World
yet. It's not July yet.
But if you gut the farm, you're really looking at, and I'm not playing for next year. I hate playing for next year. But I do think you have to be a little bit prudent. You can't just throw everything out, and hope it sticks. Brendan Davis would be a good. I would say like a Pete Crow Armstrong and a Brendan Davis, and then some other packages. But if you got to keep Casey,
you'd have to get one of your top starting. It would have to be like, and then you add Justin Steele, and then one of your other top starting pitcher, either like a Cade Horton or one of the guys. That's
which again, I'd be good with that.
Real quick before we get into NASCAR minute, Troy wants to know your thoughts on Brendan Davis.
Brendan Davis, I've only seen a few of his games. He's a tall, lanky dude. Pitchers, you can tell they know the weak spots. We always talk about pitchers know what players' weak spots are. They're busting up and in. He's still struggling with strikeouts. So, I mean, it's a wait and see. That's what I'm saying, guys. Prospects.
As I say, the volatility of prospects.
Yeah, prospects.
A year and a half, 2 years ago, it was Brendan Davis is going to be the savior of everything. He was Corey Patterson.
Last spring training, he was being talked. And again, like tallest midget award here, because like looking at the talent that was on the Cubs. But there's talk about like Brendan Davis is like one of the top 3 players in camp.
Oh yeah,
like skill wise, talent level. It's like Brendan Davis is like he is a major league ready player. A year later, he's still at AAA, still struggling.
It was the Futures game where nobody had any tape on him, and he had a freaking day, and it changed everybody's perspective because like, oh my god, it was the Futures game. The Futures game wasn't looking at scouting reports. They let those guys go out there and just use stuff against stuff. And when it's stuff against stuff, and the pitchers aren't thinking for them, or young pitchers are forced to think for themselves, the athlete at the plate has much better advantage. And now that they're actually going on the plan that these organizations have come up with for him, now he's struggling because there's actually a plan. Like, and he has to now fill the hole. He's got to fill these gaps that he has in his game, in his swing, that up and in. Just like Luis Robert, that soft away. These guys have to, when the tape gets out and word gets out, they're gonna go to the well every time, because why not? Why wouldn't you? It's like if you knew you could throw 3 fastballs by a guy in the box, you're going to do it, right? So in this case, they know if you locate and you put the ball where it's supposed to be, word got out. So it's up to now Brendan Davis, who has incredible genes. His father is a Vegas legend as well, even though they have no relationship. Is an incredible athlete in general, has some really great gifts, but now the head comes into play, because this is where am I going to adjust, or am I going to simply just rely on my athletic ability, which has been so giving to me over the course of my high school and early pro career. Now you got to use the head. And this is where Brendan Davis, this is the gut check moment for Brendan Davis. There will be one for Pete Crow Armstrong. There will be one for Kevin Alcantara. There's one for every single prospect that comes up in the game once they get their cup of coffee. The question is, who adapts, who adjusts? And this is like an Ian Happ thing. He adapted and he adjusted, and look where he's at. These guys got to follow suit. Adapt and adjust, adapt or die.
One other thing I do want to add on Brendan Davis, because he has been such a highly rated prospect for the past couple of years, we automatically think like, okay, so there's going to be this timetable. He goes from AA, AAA. Okay, in like a year, he should be at the major league level. Even before the injuries last year, that forced him out until the summer. And then again, when he was trying to play in the Arizona Fall League, he's only played in 227 total games in the minor leagues. So if we're talking about like a full MLB season, that's less than a year and a half.
There's no
this dude just hasn't played a lot of games, and he is coming back from injuries last year. So, I do expect some struggles early on here in April and maybe even into May, just because he just hasn't had a lot of games in the upper levels. This guy, a lot of crazy getting hit. I think in the same year he went to the injury list because he was just drilled on the wrist 2 times. So he's run into some bad luck. The back issues last year, obviously not great. Never want to see a young guy dealing with back stuff. But yeah, the Brendan Davis is temper those expectations. I guess maybe what I would say.
So I just watched Owen Casey's 3 home runs. Minor League Baseball's official account just tweeted him out.
Okay.
He looks like he would get carded for a rated R movie.
He's 20.
He looks like a fucking baby. Nice swing though. I will say, pretty nice swing. Very effortless power.
Great swing.
Yeah, there's something going on. I mean, obviously he had 3 home runs tonight, but
well, we got you here. Do a search for Owen Casey throw.
Ooh.
Just So when we're talking about putting together a total package, the kid has all 5 tools. He is a 5-tool Canadian, which is so rare in this world, legitimately. But he is good. But the thing with Brendan Davis is, like Andrew Vaughn had how many minor league at bats? Roughly. He had, when he got called up, he had 100, looks like 245 at bats before he was hitting the major league level. Brendan Davis has had that at the minor league level. So now they're getting tape. It's just, they're getting tape, and it's hard. It's a difficult thing to do.
I was all confused by this highlight. I didn't realize it was Team Canada playing the Cubs. Like they're showing him,
that was
like,
during spring
yeah,
training,
they show him throwing out this dude at third from right field. I'm like, wait, but that guy's on the Cubs.
Didn't he throw? I think it was Bellinger, wasn't it?
No.
Spider-Man.
But it was a good throw. It was a good throw. I don't recognize this guy. But all right, fellas, it's time for the NASCAR minute.
Let's do it.
Minute. Where is it? All right, here we go. So a lot of people turned left and they kept going really fast, and then he was like zoom, and he went around this dude, and then he was like, no, you're not going past me, and then he went zoom, and then this guy came out and he chugged the bush light, and then all of a sudden this other guy turned left, and then they turned into the pit, and they were like, pit stop, and they were like, no pit stop, and then all of a sudden they just kept going, and then Lightning McQueen jumped over a bunch of wrecked cars, and then he crossed the finish line, but he stopped right before the finish line because the old truck, he broke down, so Lightning McQueen had to go back around there and push him slowly across. But as he was doing that, Chick Hicks came in and won. But Lightning McQueen definitely did the right thing. But all in all, this super huge douchebag, Chick Hicks, won the race. It was madness, crazy shit all around. Can't believe it. I'll talk more about it next week. And that's the NASCAR Minute with NASCAR Mitch.
This Padres pitch is shitting bricks right now. Why? Because Danny fucking Burgess is up and back. Guy just ordered Shake Shack straight to the dugout. This
I don't want to sound like biased, but that might have been one of the best NASCAR minutes of all time.
Did NASCAR Mitch just get Wally Pipp? NASCAR Zoe?
NASCAR Zoe. As long as you guys don't mind me just keeping repeating the storyline to Cars 1, we're good. I mean, I can mix in like a Cars 2 and a Cars 3, even though Cars 2 sucks.
Electric.
Cars 2.
We can do that, but yeah. So for those of you who know, Mitch is working tonight, and he gets no cell phone reception apparently where he's at. His direct quote was, "I'm in the sticks. It won't let me send it." He recorded one, but it didn't come through. So
did he say he was at a Styx concert? Are we clear on that?
Maybe both. I don't think they don't get reception at Styx concerts either. But yeah, that was you guys should all tweet at Mitch right now. Everyone watching this, tweet at Mitch and just say, Mitch, that was the best NASCAR minute you've ever done. he'll be all confused because like, what are you guys talking about? Even someone.
Well, first off, if he's confused, if he's immediately confused, that means he had internet in the sticks and he's in trouble.
Yeah.
But if he gets it like in about 3 hours, then you can be like, oh, Mitch caught that. But if he immediately responds, call him out.
If you're watching this live right now, tweet at Mitch and make sure you tag Pinwheels and Ivy, and we'll retweet it too and just say, like, holy shit, Mitch, that was the best NASCAR minute you've done all season. And he'll be very confused by it. It would be good times had by all. Yeah, you guys got anything else though? We're already over an hour and a half.
Cubs, big series. Who are the Sox?
Oh yeah, who we got? So the White Sox get a real easy schedule.
Well, I think it's Baltimore, isn't it? Or no?
No, so now they go. Yeah, they're home for 3 games on the weekend. They get Thursday off, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday on the South Side versus Baltimore, who fun team but not winning baseball.
Dong Bong though. Dong.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Philadelphia comes to town. I might try to get to one of those games. I don't like going on the weekend.
Minimum 3 minutes.
Schwarber might kill someone in the 108.
I'm the Dan Ryan. Like, watch out.
But then they got to go on a nice little road trip where next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they got to go play this Tampa Bay, who's decently warm right now. And then they leave Tampa Bay and go for 3 in Toronto, who also playing pretty fucking good baseball right now. And then after that Toronto series, they come home and then Minnesota for 3 games.
Oh.
So buckle the fuck up, White Sox fans, because. But the good news is, there's rumors that Moncada and possibly Eloy might be playing this weekend against Baltimore. And then you got to imagine you probably get TA back too by the time the Tampa Bay series. TA probably missed the Baltimore and the Philly series. Be my guess. They said 2 weeks, but
2 weeks. It's like the money pit.
Yump, I'll hit you up, but Wednesday might be more realistic because that's a 1:10 game. I like day games because the kids at daycare.
So wait, no easy sledding for the Cubs either. The Oakland series is should be easy, but Dodgers for 3 on the road. Then they go to Oakland for 3.
Dodgers are very underwhelming right now.
They're still the Dodgers, though.
I know they are still the Dodgers. So they got a California. They're playing all of California, dude. At LA,
and the Dodgers for 4 at home, and then the Padres for 3. So the next 13.
Yeah. Although, by the way, what you just said, like actually just gave me like happy palpitations in my chest because you're like, oh, and then the Cubs play Oakland. That means like there will be a day here, me in Vegas in the future, where the Cubs are going to come here for a 3-game series.
There you go.
In the Las Vegas Athletics are the Las Vegas.
Head down to Utah. What was that story? I barely read the headline. Were they serious?
Oh yeah, Utah's trying to get a baseball team. Salt Lake
Yeah,
City.
they're trying to get an expansion team, but they're not going to get the Athletics have a spot there. It's the Rio Hotel. It's already done. Like it literally is all about now maneuvering everything. The spot here in Vegas, it'll be just across the strip. The 15 is like our big like interstate. And it'll be across the interstate from the strip. So it's not on the strip, but it's across, and it's a perfect spot. It's across the street from the Palms, and next to the what is it? The gold. Oh God, I keep calling it Gold Strike. Anyway, it's off Flamingo.
Golden Nugget.
No, Golden Nugget. That's Fremont. No, this is it's across. Oh God. Anyway, they have a great Chinese place called Ping Pang Pong. It's fantastic. But anyway, Palms right there. Again, there's a lot of parking. The Flamingo's a pretty wide street already. There's also a back entrance that's another side street that also can be pulled if you go underneath the underpass. It's actually a really good spot. They've been talking about it for years. So again, I was with a couple people that are like Vegas in the know Vegas wise, not baseball. They know shit about sports, in fact, but they're like, we're pretty sure that they're building the roads for the F1 thing that we're hosting here, but they're also building the roads for
Chicago's got the NASCAR shit, and people are already bitching about how bad traffic that's going to cause.
Yeah.
Let me just say though, out of the expansion possibility, like the cities,
Nashville.
I'm sure that Utah. I'm sure I've seen the pictures. Utah has great, outdoor places to go, great landscaping. Ain't nobody wants to go to Salt Lake City.
Nope.
I'm sorry.
No. I said their team name could be the Sister Wives.
and here's Salt Lake. You really think that the board in Salt Lake's going to welcome a major league franchise that all of which is now in cahoots with sports gambling, drinking,
right? Yeah.
And Budweiser?
No. How are they going to handle the beer sales when you can't even?
Do not go to Ogden, Utah is the most liberal probably place in all of Utah, and the Ogden Raptors they might still be the Dodgers single A team. That's the only place where you can get real actual like full beer.
That's right. I remember hearing about that. They
2% beer.
Yeah,
it's like water in most of Utah. It's terrible. And Ogden has one of those. In Utah, in Salt Lake, you have to be a part of. They call them clubs or lodges. It's like you're part of a hunting club, except you have to have a sponsor. Like so, if I come from Nevada and I want to drink at a bar in Salt Lake, I have to have a friend that's a part of the club. They've got like a license to drink beer. Like it's actually so weird. And so that won't work there. But Nashville, Portland, those are my 2 picks. I think Nashville and Portland are, if
the spot on Carolina would be nice too.
I don't think Portland's getting one.
Let me rephrase that. If Vegas doesn't get the Athletics, Portland and Nashville for me. But Nashville's got they're pretty good, man. They got a great.
I don't think Portland's getting a baseball team.
They have a really good. Look at their attendance for the Portland. What's their AAA team?
They got some shit they got to work out up there in Portland. I think before they throw another professional sports team there. Remember, everyone, it is very important right now to the people watching to subscribe, but also to tweet at Mitchell Kaminsky. That was the best NASCAR minute you've ever done. Please. And even if you're listening to this on,
show you how to do
on
this
Thursday. I mean,
that's right. If you're listening, head over to Pinwheels and Ivy, a podcast on Twitter. Go over to our bio and then click on Mitch's name. Tweet at him.
Mm-hmm.
Tutorial. Here we go. So those of you that are watching, this is all you have to do. You have to go up to the top of your
and then log into your burner.
And so you say the absolute best NASCAR minute yet. At Mitchell. Okay, it'll autofill for me. Mitchell Kaminsky 99. And then you say, "Well done, good sir." Something like that, yeah. And then you
love
just
your dong.
Love your dong. Ellipses, but only 3 because there's only 3 ellipses. All right, we're gonna have to delete that so I don't get fired from my job. And here we go. And so we've done
love
it.
Is love.
Yeah. So dong is dong. And so that's all you have to do for Mitchell is to let Mitchell know that tonight he really put in the effort. And if he responds within the next 10 minutes, which is 9:52 Central Time, he had plenty of service in the sticks. That means he's at a Styx concert.
Also, tell him that Larry Garcia is the GOAT.
Yeah, he loves that.
Yumper did it. Attaboy, Yump. All right. For Fids, that's all though. I'm Zoe. We will see you guys next week. And as always, stay tuned because there might be some more of those playbacks coming soon.
Ooh.
Cubs playback. Yep. Hey, Cubs Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Bring some guests on.
All right. Take care, everybody.